Hello, it's Mr. Intermarket Analysis, Adil speaking from Analysis.com. Okay, so it's been quite a long time since I did the last video. Basically, last week or two, I've just sort of been recovering. I suffered from an asthma attack on New Year's Eve. I ended up in hospital. Mainly due to the fact that obviously I'm quite a bad asthmatic, and I've not been well recently. So, and given the fact that New Year's, obviously Christmas, etc., obviously very busy with renovation at home as well, so that sort of contributed to the asthma attack as well, unfortunately. So that made things worse. I've had the whole house renovated, still not 100% completed, 50% complete. Still trying to get everything done. So anyway, but let's try and be positive and focus on positive things. So the main concern for me really is obviously recovering 100%. I'm almost 90% now, and hopefully I'll be better going into next week. Now let's have a look at the FTSE 100. That's what we do day in, day out. So as traders, so let's analyze the charts as things are going. Hopefully getting back to normal. Okay then, so let's try and tackle the FTSE 100. It's been on a rampage, light volume rampage going into Christmas. It negated a lot of bearish formations, and has been constantly short squeezing higher. But as soon as we come into the new year and the volume's back, obviously the markets here are quite hesitant. So let's have a look at the weekly chart first of all. Let's try and dissect this. So weekly chart, as we know, key trend line at present, key trend line resistance here. Okay, so key trend line resistance failing to get above. Obviously horizontal resistance as well, so you can certainly draw on your horizontal levels, and obviously these are being obeyed at present. So that's all we can conclude from the weekly chart. Resistance. Okay, a daily chart, obviously I drew a trend line here, key trend line resistance, horizontal resistance. We have this bull flag formation here. So far we've failed to continue on and hit the top trend line. So a failed bull flag generally means an emotive sell-off in the opposite direction. Given the fact that you've had Alcoa results poor overnight, and commodities absolutely hammered, hemorrhaged, as we know, oil has been hammered. Gold is holding its own, but that's mainly due to fear, or lack of tapering, shall we say, because the tapering itself has been pretty peanuts. You do have concerns about deflation, which obviously has hurt gold as of late, but that certainly seems to be factored in. And given the fact that Mr. Draghi was very accommodative or very dovish today, that obviously is going to support gold. But copper absolutely got hammered today. The copper chart doesn't look healthy at all. If you look at a copper chart, has been diving as of late. There you can see there that dive there, and obviously crude oil dive as well. So that doesn't bode well for the FTSE going forward. Okay, so that certainly does indicate weakness, and obviously given the fact that the markets have been on a light volume short squeeze pre-Christmas or pre-New Year's hopium type rally, then obviously the FTSE is going to lag, and that's what's going to materialize and follow the CRB index or the commodities lower. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. Given the fact that the BOE as well, if you focus on the BOE today, the BOE did obviously hold rates, but obviously the forward guidance, the goalposts are being shifted with regards to unemployment and inflation as well. So there was an article in Reuters today about interest rates rising faster than expected. Given the fact that they are changing the goalposts, then that is certainly a concern for the FTSE 100 going forward as well, given the fact that sterling is certainly stubbornly high, and that will obviously hurt exports going forward as well. So bear that in mind. So these are all headwinds for the FTSE. One of the main headwinds really, and this is something that's really perplexed me as well going into the Christmas rally, which I did get caught on my short as well, my swing short on my fundamental analysis service, is China. The Chinese index has been absolutely under the cosh, so to speak. Okay, if you look at the Chinese index, compare it to the FTSE, it's certainly not following in terms of convergence. Now, as you can see, certainly we had an inverted head and shoulders formation. We failed that, and this is what really perplexed me. A failed inverted head and shoulders formation generally means an emotive sell-off, and that's exactly what we're getting. Okay, so given the fact that the Shanghai has already broken lower and made a new low, and yet the FTSE is still stubbornly high, so the Shanghai generally tends to give the real direction of the markets, and is not manipulated in any way with regards to light volume, etc., etc. So again, that indicates that the FTSE is going to move lower. Now, if we were to go lower on the FTSE going ahead in the next day or two, or going into next week, certainly we're looking at, oh, this is something that's similar. This is more likely a trade that I'll probably take on the fundamental analysis service, but I do expect 6620 to be hit. Now, that may well be hit tomorrow. I am already currently short FTSE. I've got a short now averaging around 6707 at the moment. I think it is 6706. So yeah, certainly looking for 6620. Watch out for that level going in the next day or two. Okay, so that's the daily chart, certainly indicating weakness, a failed bull flag, and down we go. We've had the pivot high was there. You had a lower high there, and obviously this is a lower high right now. Okay, so let's have a look at a smaller time frame. Really, it's a 60-minute chart that I'm interested in. A 60-minute chart basically indicates a H&S formation. So if you just draw your H&S there, there's your left shoulder there, which has already been put in. Your head has been put in. You had a failed bull flag, which is a classical emotive sell-off pattern that indicates a top. If you take your pivot high, take it to the neckline, project that to the downside, and certainly look out for a target on the H&S formation. You've got 6770, the pivot high. You've got your neckline around the 6715 level. So you're looking at 55 points to the downside. Call it 6765, make it easy. 50 points to the downside, 6715 to 6765. And basically you're looking at a projected target here around, well, basically let's call it the 200 MA. You've got the 200 MA here. This will probably be sloping upwards, and certainly looking for a projection on the downside. So you're looking at around 6665, around that region. But given the fact that you do have an unfilled gap here around the 6606 level, so certainly watch out for that level below. You do have an unfilled gap at 6480 as well, which is below, but in the meantime the 200 MA should hold around the 6620 level, which obviously coincides with the daily chart as well. So if you go back to the daily chart, what was that key level again? Remember, 6620 level, around that region where previous obviously horizontal support here, previous resistance equals support here, horizontal previous resistance equals support here. So that will be quite a key level to watch out for. 6620 level, watch out for that level to be hit. Okay, so let's have a look at the FTSE 250, because that's a chart that I generally tend to look at. Okay, now this obviously has been screaming higher. It's broken out this line here. We have tested it once, but I do expect a retest of the breakout. So given the fact that you've had a bearish engulfing candle and a reversal as well so far, so certainly watch out for the 250 to come back and retest the breakout before obviously making a new high. Obviously this pullback will then allow the FTSE to hit 6620 or more, or potentially even pull back further, and obviously hit this key trend line here, and obviously retest the previous breakout, and then off we go to the races on the upside thereafter. So certainly keep an eye out for that. Okay, that's going to be very interesting going forward, very, very interesting. So certainly indicating 6620, hopefully looking to get that hit in the next day or two, probably Monday if not tomorrow, given the fact that you've got the US jobs data, which is going to be quite crucial tomorrow. Okay, you do have Chinese data coming out in the next hour or so, so that will obviously dictate the actual direction of the FTSE as well. And so keep an eye on that, folks. Okay, so risk on, risk off, wax on, wax off. Goodbye now.